Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the English Learning Podcast. I'm your host, Sarah, and today we have a really interesting topic for you: how to improve English through listening to podcasts.
Hey everyone, I'm Bill, your co-host. I'm super excited about today's episode because this topic is very close to my heart. Podcasts helped me a lot when I was learning another language, and I know they can help you too.
Exactly, Bill. Many English learners focus only on reading or grammar, but they often forget that listening is one of the most powerful ways to actually think and speak in English.
Right. When you listen to natural conversations like this one, you start to understand how real people talk, how they use expressions, and how their pronunciation and rhythm sound in everyday English.
And the best part is, you can listen to podcasts anytime while driving, cooking, walking, or even before going to bed. It's like learning English without feeling like you're studying.
Exactly. So, in today's episode, we're going to share why listening to podcasts helps you improve your English faster, how to choose the right podcasts for your level, and how to make listening a daily habit that actually transforms your English.
That's right. So, if you've ever wondered how to train your ears and your brain to understand English, better stay tuned. This episode will give you practical steps and motivation to learn English naturally through podcasts.
All right then, let's dive right in and explore why podcasts are such a powerful tool for learning English.
So, Bill, let's start with the big question: why are podcasts such a powerful way to learn English?
That's a great question, Sarah. You know, the main reason is that podcasts expose you to real English, not the kind of English you find only in textbooks. You hear how people actually speak in everyday situations, their tone, emotions, and natural speed.
Exactly. When you listen to podcasts, you're not just learning words, you're training your ears to recognize how English sounds in real life. And that's something no grammar book can teach you.
Right. Plus, podcasts help you improve your pronunciation and accent without even realizing it. When you hear native speakers again and again, your brain starts copying the rhythm, the tone, and even the melody of English.
That's so true. It's like how babies learn their first language. They listen for months before they ever say a single word. Their brain absorbs the sounds, the patterns, the tone. And the same thing happens when you listen to English podcasts regularly.
Yes, and another great thing is that podcasts help with vocabulary. You don't just memorize words, you hear them in context. That means you understand how and when people use those words naturally.
Exactly, and that makes it much easier to remember. For example, if you hear someone say, "I'm running late," again and again in podcasts, you'll naturally remember that phrase and start using it in your own conversations.
And podcasts are so flexible. You can choose the topics you enjoy: travel, lifestyle, motivation, even English learning shows like this one, so you stay interested and learn faster.
That's right. The key idea is this: the more you listen, the more your brain gets used to English. You begin to think in English, understand it faster, and even speak more fluently.
Absolutely. It's like exercising your listening muscles every day. The more you practice, the stronger and faster your English understanding becomes.
I love that comparison. Listening is like exercise for your English brain. So, the next time you put on a podcast, remember you're not just listening, you're training your mind to become fluent.
Beautifully said, Sarah. Now, since there are thousands of podcasts out there, the next big question is, how can learners choose the right ones for their level and goals?
Great point, Bill. Let's talk about that next: how to choose the best podcasts to improve your English effectively. So, Bill, as you mentioned, there are thousands of podcasts out there. Sometimes it's hard to know where to start. How can English learners choose the right podcasts for them?
That's a great question, Sarah. The first thing I always tell learners is know your level. If you're a beginner, don't start with fast news or complicated topics. Look for podcasts made for English learners, where the hosts speak clearly and slowly.
Exactly. There are lots of podcasts designed for beginners where the speakers explain words and speak at a comfortable speed. That helps you build confidence.
Right. And if you're at an intermediate or advanced level, you can explore podcasts about topics you actually enjoy, like travel, motivation, technology, or personal development. When you enjoy the content, it doesn't feel like study. It feels like entertainment.
I totally agree. Learning through topics you love keeps you motivated. For example, if you like cooking, you can listen to food or recipe podcasts. If you love self-improvement, listen to motivational podcasts.
That's a great point, Sarah. Also, try to find podcasts that match your attention span. Some people prefer short episodes, maybe 5 to 10 minutes, perfect for daily listening. Others like long conversations, around 30 minutes, for deeper practice.
Yes, shorter episodes are great if you're busy or just starting out. You can listen while brushing your teeth, making breakfast, or driving to work.
And one more tip. Don't be afraid to try different shows until you find one that fits your style. If a podcast feels boring or too difficult, change it. Learning should feel enjoyable, not stressful.
Exactly. And sometimes it helps to subscribe to 2 or 3 different podcasts, one easy, one more challenging, and one purely for fun. That way, you get variety and keep learning from different voices and accents.
That's a smart idea. Plus, hearing different accents, American, British, Australian, helps you understand English in real-world situations.
Absolutely. So, to summarize, 1. Choose podcasts that match your level. 2. Pick topics you love. 3. Keep episodes short at first. 4. And most importantly, enjoy the process. Exactly. And that brings us to our next part, how to listen effectively and get the most out of every episode you play.
Yes, this is where the magic happens. Let's talk about that next.
All right, now that our listeners know how to choose the right podcasts, the next big question is how can they listen effectively? Because just listening isn't always enough, right, Bill?
Exactly, Sarah. There's a big difference between hearing and listening. You can play a podcast in the background all day, but if your mind isn't focused, you won't learn much. That's why I always recommend combining active listening and passive listening.
That's a great point. Let's break those down a bit. So, active listening means you're fully focused on what you're hearing, like studying it. Maybe you have your notebook open, you're repeating words, and trying to understand every sentence.
Right. And passive listening is more relaxed. It's when you listen while doing something else, like cleaning, walking, or driving. Even if you don't catch every word, your brain is still hearing English and getting used to the rhythm and sounds.
Exactly. And both are important. I usually tell learners to start with short active sessions, maybe 10 or 15 minutes a day, and then add some passive listening throughout the day.
Yes. And during active listening, here are a few great techniques. 1. Focus on the main idea instead of every single word. 2. Don't translate into your native language. Try to understand meaning directly in English. 3. Listen more than once. The first time, just enjoy it. The second time, pay attention to vocabulary and pronunciation.
That's gold, Bill. I'd add one more: shadowing. It means repeating what you hear immediately after the speaker. It's a great way to practice pronunciation and fluency.
Oh yes, shadowing is powerful. When you imitate the tone and rhythm of the speakers, your speaking skills improve naturally. It's like training your mouth and brain to speak in English patterns.
Exactly. And learners can make it fun. For example, choose a podcast episode, listen once for understanding, and then pick a small part, maybe 30 seconds, and try to repeat it exactly as the host says it.
Yes, and here's another tip. Use the transcript if the podcast provides one. Reading while listening helps you connect sound and spelling, which improves your pronunciation and spelling at the same time.
That's so true. Many English learning podcasts offer transcripts for free. So you can listen once, then read and listen together, and finally listen again without reading to test your understanding.
Exactly. And remember, it's not about perfection. You don't have to understand 100%. Even if you catch the main ideas and a few new phrases each time, you're improving.
Beautifully said, Bill. Learning through listening is about progress, not perfection. Every minute you listen in English, your brain becomes more familiar with the language.
Absolutely. And once you master the right way to listen, you can use podcasts to learn new vocabulary and pronunciation naturally without memorizing lists or repeating boring drills.
That's exactly what we'll talk about next, how to use podcasts to build your vocabulary and improve your pronunciation.
Sounds exciting. Let's jump right into that.
So now that our listeners know how to listen effectively, let's talk about something every English learner wants: how to use podcasts to learn new words and improve pronunciation.
Yes, that's a big one, Sarah. Many learners listen to podcasts but don't know how to actually learn from them. The key is to be a bit more active when you listen, not just hear words, but notice them.
Exactly. When you hear a new word or expression, don't just skip it. Pause the podcast for a moment, repeat it aloud, and maybe write it down in a small notebook or your phone's notes app.
That's right. And try to note the whole phrase, not just the single word. For example, instead of writing just opportunity, write a great opportunity to learn. That helps you remember how native speakers use it naturally.
Yes, context is everything. When you hear words in real conversations, your brain connects the meaning, tone, and emotion behind them, so they stick much better than memorizing from a word list.
And for pronunciation, one of the best techniques is mimicking, also known as shadowing, which we talked about earlier. Just replay a short section of the podcast and try to copy exactly how the speaker talks. Their accent, tone, even their pauses.
Exactly. Don't worry about sounding perfect, just try to sound close. Over time, your mouth muscles get used to English sounds, and your pronunciation becomes more natural.
Another smart thing to do is to create your own vocabulary podcast journal. You can write down new phrases you like from different episodes and review them at the end of the week.
That's such a great idea, Bill. And to make it even more powerful, you can record yourself saying those phrases out loud. Listening to your own voice helps you hear your mistakes and improve faster.
Absolutely. So remember, everyone, when you listen to podcasts, 1. Notice new words and phrases. 2. Repeat and practice them aloud. 3. Review them regularly. 4. And most importantly, use them in real conversation.
Yes, the more you use new vocabulary, the faster it becomes part of your natural English.
Exactly, Sarah. And once you build that routine, the next step is keeping it consistent, making podcast listening a daily habit.
That's right, because consistency is what turns learning into fluency. Let's talk about how to build a daily listening habit next. So, Bill, we've talked about why podcasts are powerful and how to learn from them, but the real secret to success is consistency, right?
Absolutely, Sarah. You can listen to one amazing episode, but if you only do it once in a while, you won't see real improvement. The magic happens when you make listening a daily habit.
Exactly. And the good news is it's not difficult. You don't need hours every day. Even 10 or 15 minutes of listening daily can make a huge difference if you do it regularly.
That's so true. I usually recommend learners connect listening with their daily routine. For example, listen to a short podcast while getting ready in the morning, cooking breakfast, or walking to work.
Yes, I love that. You can also listen during your commute or while doing simple tasks. The idea is to make English part of your lifestyle something you do naturally, not something you have to force yourself to study.
Exactly. And for people who like structure, setting a small goal helps a lot, like, I'll listen to one episode every day before bed, or I'll listen to 15 minutes every morning.
That's a great idea. You can even keep a listening calendar, mark the days you listened, so you can see your progress. It keeps you motivated when you realize how many days you've practiced in a row.
Yes. And if you ever miss a day, don't worry. Just start again the next day. Building a habit is about progress, not perfection.
Beautifully said, Bill. And I think another tip is to prepare your playlist in advance. Choose 2 or 3 favorite podcasts and subscribe. That way, you always have something ready to play, no time wasted searching.
Exactly. Make it easy to start. The easier it is to listen, the more likely you'll do it every day.
So true. And remember, consistency builds confidence. The more often you listen, the more natural English sounds to you, and the faster you'll start thinking in English.
Yes, it's all about daily exposure. Even short sessions add up over time, they really do.
Absolutely. So, once you've built that daily habit, you're on your way to fluency. But we also need to talk about something important: the common mistakes learners make when listening to podcasts.
Right, because sometimes small mistakes can slow down your progress. Let's look at those next, so listeners can avoid them.
All right, Bill, we've shared a lot of great tips so far, but I think it's also important to talk about the mistakes learners often make when listening to podcasts.
Absolutely, Sarah. One of the biggest mistakes is trying to understand every single word. Learners get frustrated when they miss something, but that's completely normal. You don't need 100% understanding to improve.
Exactly. Even native speakers don't catch every word all the time. The goal is to understand the main idea and enjoy the process, not to translate everything in your head.
Right. Another mistake is multitasking too much during listening. For example, if you're listening while checking your phone or texting, your brain isn't really focused, so you don't learn much.
That's so true. It's fine to listen passively sometimes, but for real progress, you need some focused listening time too.
Yes, and one more, some learners give up too quickly. They listen to a few episodes, think it's too hard, and stop. But improvement takes time. If you keep listening, your ears and brain will adjust naturally.
Exactly, Bill. Be patient, be consistent, and don't judge your progress day by day. You're improving even when you don't notice it.
Beautiful advice, Sarah. So, avoid these small mistakes, stay positive, and keep going. That's the real secret.
Absolutely. And now, let's wrap up with a few final thoughts and motivation for our listeners. All right, everyone, we've covered a lot today, from choosing the right podcasts to listening effectively, learning new words, and building daily habits.
Yes, and remember, the more you listen, the more natural English becomes. Even a few minutes a day can completely change how you understand and speak the language.
Exactly. So keep listening, keep learning, and enjoy the journey. Every episode you hear is one step closer to fluency.
Beautifully said, Sarah. Thanks for joining us today, everyone. If you found this episode helpful, make sure to follow or subscribe to the English Learning Podcast for more lessons and real English conversations.
We'll see you in the next episode, and until then, keep listening, keep growing, and keep shining.